In this video, I'm going to be telling you how you can create amazing virtual tours using Kuula software and any 360 camera, but specifically I'm going to be talking about the Insta360 X4 that I've got here, because I have been sent it by Insta360, but everything in this video is my own thoughts. But as mentioned, you can use any 360 camera with Kuula software, and that is one of the benefits that it has over something like, say, Matterport, because with Matterport you are stuck with just the cameras that you can use with Matterport. But let's jump in now and see how you can create great virtual tours with Kuula software. So before you get started, you are going to have to get a few bits of equipment. As I've just mentioned, you're going to have to pick up a 360 camera. These come at all price ranges. You can pick them up from about £200, $200, all the way up to about £1,000. Like I say here, I've got the Insta360 X4, and at the moment you can get these for about £400 here in the UK, so roughly about the same in dollars. As well as your 360 camera, you are going to need to get a monopod. You could use a tripod, but to be honest, monopods are a lot better because, well, they're less bulky, and obviously the nature of 360 cameras is that they have two 180 lenses that see all the way around, so having a slimline monopod makes it easier to edit out the little feet on the ground should you need to. And well, that's pretty much all you are going to need. But if you are going to use an Insta360 X4 or one of the Insta360 cameras, it's probably a good idea to download the Insta360 app too, because that way you will be able to control the camera, and so you're out of the way because of the 360 photos. You don't want to be in shot. But with any other camera, you could use the timer setting and then simply put it on timer and leave the room, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So now you've got your 360 camera and your monopod, you're nearly ready to go, but you're going to want to make sure you've just got your settings right on your camera. Obviously, these are going to vary a bit between 360 cameras depending on which model you've got. Here I've got the Insta360 X4, so I'm going to want to shoot at the highest resolution possible, and with this one it's 72 megapixels. I'm going to set it on HDR mode, and because it's going to get that high dynamic range, and I'm not going to have to do as much post-processing as if I shot in RAW mode, because you're going to have the choice of shooting either in HDR mode or RAW mode, probably on most cameras. HDR mode, like I say, is going to do that processing for you in camera. So it's going to get the best high dynamic range for you, and then you're just going to pretty much be able to use it from the camera into Kuula, just do a little bit of tweaking. However, with raw photos, you're going to have to do a bit more post-processing, but you are going to get the best possible image using raw footage. So it's your choice really, whether you just go for the inbuilt HDR mode or you shoot raw photos. But once you've decided on that, then you're nearly ready to get cracking. The other setting you're going to want to make sure is set, as I just mentioned, is, well, whether you set it on timer mode or whether you connect the camera to your camera manufacturer's app on your phone. I do recommend setting it to your app on your phone, because that way you can just get out of the room and just click capture in your own time. If you put it on timer, obviously you might have a bit of a rush to get out of the way and find a good hiding place. So yeah, I do recommend if you can download the manufacturer's app and link it up so you can take the photo using that. So once you've got your camera set up, you're nearly ready to go, but there's a couple of things you're going to want to do first. Luckily here, I'm in an empty property, so I can pretty much get started, but I'm still going to want to go around and turn all the lights on, because even though it's a bright day here, there's going to be some rooms which are a bit darker than others. It's just good practice to get those lights on to make all the shots nice and light and bright. The other thing to do is make sure that the property is ready to shoot in terms of how tidy it is. Like I say here, I'm in an empty property, so there's not a lot I have to do. However, if you're in an occupied property, there probably is going to be stuff that you are going to have to move. So have a word with the owner there and just say, I've got to shift this out of the way, because you want to make each room look as tidy as possible. Because of the nature of 360 photos, it sees everything. So you want to show the property off in its best possible light. So now you've got your camera set up on its monopod, you've got the settings set to the best possible standard that they can be set to, you've been round, had to tidy that house if you need to, turned on all the lights, you are now ready to get started. So let's get started with our first shot on our virtual tour. So when we're capturing our photos for our 360 virtual tour, one big thing you're going to want to make sure is that your monopod is straight. You can edit these in post to get them nice and level, but it's just good practice to get it level first time. So with your monopod, you're going to want to make sure that it's straight. So you're going to want to take a step back, have a look around, make sure it's not tilting over, and this is sort of tilting back a little bit. So you're going to want to get a monopod where you can do this, like there's a little screw at the bottom. That means that I can just sort of shift this around which way and that, and just make sure it's straight. And then once you're happy, take another step back, look at it from a couple of angles, make sure it's dead straight. So once you're happy that it is straight, you're obviously going to want to make sure it's set in the room where you want it. Here it's an empty room, so I am just going to put it in the middle. I mean, sometimes if it's a long room, maybe there's two sections to it, like a living area and a kitchen area, you might want to take a shot in both sections, and then that way you can move between them in the virtual tour. But here, I am just going to put it in the middle. Then you're going to want to make sure your phone is connected to your camera, or if you're just putting it on a timer mode, make sure that timer mode's set. Once you're happy that it's straight, you've got it set where you want it, you're simply going to leave the room, either clip capture on there and then leave the room, or you're going to leave the room and click capture on your app, and then that's your first photo taken. After that, it's simply a case of just moving around the property, just doing the same process over and over again. Like I say, making sure you're turning on the lights, making sure each room is nice and tidy, and just making sure you're setting your camera up in the best place to show off all the rooms so that your virtual tour can move around and make sense. So in the kitchen now, I'm just going to again set it down on the ground, make sure it's nice and straight, get my phone out, make sure it's connected, and then I'm going to leave the room and click capture. So I'm going to go around the rest of the property now, doing this virtual tour, and then I'll see you back at the desk in front of the computer where we're going to start putting this virtual tour together. So I'll see you guys in just a moment. So we've got all our 360 photos now, and we're back at the desk ready to start editing our 360 tour in Kuula. Before we take a look at that though, I will just mention the Insta360 X4 again, because if you do want to purchase one of these 360 cameras, I do have an affiliate link below which you can check out, and if you buy through that link, you get a free invisible selfie stick, which you can also use as your monopod if you get one of these little tripod legs to fit on the bottom. So that would be you all set up, ready to go, making your 360 tours and then start editing them in Kuula. So without further ado, let's take a look at how we edit the tours in Kuula. So if you've never used Kuula before, you are going to want to create an account. And the great thing about Kuula is it's just done through the website, so you don't really need to download any software or have any apps. It's not locked to your computer. You can literally just create an account, and then you can do your editing anywhere as long as you've got an internet connection. So first of all, we're just going to hop in and get you set up to get your Kuula account all sorted and ready to go. So when you open the Kuula website, you're going to have this home screen first, and you're going to want to go to join now. And you're just going to have to set up your profile, get a username, put in your email, etc. And then choose one of the plans. And you can have a free account on here, which is pretty much just for sort of trying it out and practicing with. But you are probably going to want to get the Kuula Pro package, which you have here, which says it here, it's $20 a month if billed annually, $24 a month if you just want to have a rolling monthly contract. And if you want a business account, it's obviously £48 a month, but the Pro one is going to be just fine, because that's going to give you access to all the bits you need to use on Kuula, and you get unlimited tours, which is amazing value, because for $24 a month or $20 a month, you can just post as many tours as you like. And if you think about something like Matterport, you're kind of limited to just a handful in some cases for about $50. I mean, I've got a package at the moment I'm paying £84 for, and I just get 30 tours with that. So this is a great thing about Kuula. It's amazing value. And once you've got your account set up, obviously you're going to need to get the photos from your 360 camera, whatever camera you've been using. So with the Insta360 X4, it does have an SD card in it, so you can either pop that out, stick it in your reader in your computer, and just simply take the 360 photos off there, or you can connect the camera straight to your laptop and get them off that way. I've already done that here. I've got my little file set up here, just Kuula test. Obviously you're going to want to put your the name of the property address, and here I have imported all my photos from that property into this folder here, so I've got them ready to put into Kuula. So once you've imported your photos onto your computer from your 360 camera, you've got your Kuula account set up, well, you're ready to make your first tour. So you're going to want to click on this little the 3 lines at the side, which brings up the menu, and then here you've got create tour. So we're going to want to click on that, and you're going to want to name the tour. That's going to be the property address, whatever it is, the White House, Washington DC, maybe. And I'm just going to call this the Kuula test. And you can put a little description down here if you need a few more details. And then we're going to simply click on select images here, and then select the folder that you need them in from. So I've got them here, the Kuula test folder, and simply click open. You can also drag and drop them, as that might be a little easier, but you can also do it that way. And then you're just going to have to wait a little moment for them all to upload. Once they're uploaded, you'll be able to tell because it all says status ready and this little bar's turned green. You're going to want to just make sure they're in the right order. Just make it a little bit easier when you're navigating through to make your virtual tour. So I've got down here the front exterior. So I'm going to drag that up, get that up to the top. That's going to be my first shot. And then I need the hallway, which is this one. And the living room. I've actually got 2 of that, so I can get rid of one of those, so not to confuse things. And then got the kitchen. And then once you're happy they're all in the right place, you can rename them just so you know what they are. So here I've got exterior, and then hallway. And you can go through and just do them all as you please. And once you've got them all renamed and in the order you want, then you simply want to click here, post. And then it's going to go into the editor, ready for you to start putting your virtual tour together. So now we're at the editing stage where we're going to put our tour together. And this is our first shot, it's the exterior. And as you can see here, it's not looking at the house. So we need to sort that out straight away. And you do that by simply just dragging it around. And so here's the house. And you are going to want to click here on current. So that way it's going to start facing the direction you want it to face, which is at the house here. That's the head under the heading bit. It says current here. And also for the little shots you've got below of each area of the virtual tour, you're going to want to make sure that the picture showing is the right sort of picture, because as here the little thumbnail is not facing at the property. So you're going to want to click snapshot, and that's going to take the snapshot of where the camera angle is facing that you've got on the screen at that point. So that's how we want to start our tour. Next up, we're going to want to put in the next part of the tour we want to go into. So in this case, we're going to go through the door and into the hallway. So to do that, you simply want to drag on your next 360 image, which is here below, which we labeled hallway. And all you're going to do is simply drag it from there up onto the picture above. And that has now put a little hotspot there. But as you can see, that hotspot isn't really how we want it. So what we're going to have to do there is change image. Well, you can change the image. I quite like using the, here's built. So you want to click on built-in assets, and then you'll get in all the little types of hotspots you can use. And that is the one we're using at the moment, which is the one I'm going to use. But as I say here, it's not really at the right angle. So what we need to do is click wall here, so it's against the door. And then we're going to want to make it a bit smaller just by clicking on width here. And the opacity is actually all right here, but if you first do this, it's probably going to be at 100. And I just prefer to have this down at about sort of 50 or 60. Just looks a bit more natural in the scene. So once you're happy with that, you've got the hotspot you want, you've got the sort of size you want, you've got the opacity there. Then that is pretty much it for this photo here. So once you're happy with that, all you're going to do is click save. So once that is saved, we can go on to the next photo. So we're going to click on our little hotspot there. On the picture below there, and that's going to take us to the next part of our tour, which is the hallway. So again here, what we want to do, we want to have it facing the direction that we come in. So we're going to want to turn it round and have it facing the doorway there for the kitchen. So that's like we've come in through the hallway. So again, we're just going to want to click on current there and snapshot again there. And now we've got a few different areas we've got to go in here. We've got the kitchen, we've got upstairs, and also we've got the living room or reception room just to the side. So we're going to have to put all the hotspots in for this one. So below we've got the reception room here. We're going to drag that there, and you can see here it has put a little hotspot, but that is rather small. So we're going to make that bigger. And it's selected wall here. It does look like it's on the floor, but if you select floor there, then it should have a better position. There we go on the floor, and we will make that a little bit smaller again. So that is our one for the living room, and then we're going to want to do the one for the kitchen, which is this one. Click that up, and again, just position that where you want it. I'll make that a little bit smaller. And then we're going to want to put one for upstairs as well. So that's going to be my landing shot here. So I'm just going to drag that there. But for that one, because we're going to go up the stairs, I think we will change the image on that one. We're going to want to click change image here, and then there's a little arrow there. You could use one of these arrows, but yeah, I'm going to go with this one. And for that, we're going to change the position of that, or sorry. I'm going to have it going up the wall this time, that's right. And then going up the stairs that way. So I'm happy with that because now it's looking like the arrow is pointing up the stairs. So a couple of things I'm just going to mention now are to do with how you move through the tour, because what you want to do is make sure you're sort of keeping a nice flow. So you're going to want to click on this one down here. So if you're on the hotspot menu, you can scroll down here and click keep direction. That way, as you move through, it's going to keep the same direction, the same viewpoint. So it just gives a more natural flow. And something I also forgot to mention just before we started. So if we go back to where we brought our pictures in, just going to go on tour settings here, and I'm going to put in walk-in fade zoom and also walk-through mode. You're going to want that turned on, because again, that's just going to give that nice smooth way of moving through the virtual tour. And also another thing which you get with the Kuula Pro is click anywhere. So that means that you can click sort of anywhere on the screen, and you don't just have to click on the hotspot as you move through the scene, which might make it a bit easier for people using the tour to move through instead of having to like find the little hotspot. So a couple of things to keep in mind when you want to put your tour together to keep it a nice smooth flow through the tour. So once you're happy with how you're going to move through the tour with those settings I've just shown you, just going to show you a couple of things you can do with photos. So we're going to move into the living room here, and you can do some adjustments to the photos using the editing suite in Kuula. I personally don't use them that much. You just got a few filters here, like here you can make it look cooler, bloom, puts a bit more saturation, but like I say, I don't really use them that much, but the features are there if you want to use them. And actually that's something I must say as well, is that you can edit your photos obviously before you bring them into Kuula. So you take them off your camera, you can edit them in Photoshop with just the brightness, sharpness, whatever you want to do with them. I've actually just taken these photos straight from the camera and put them into Kuula, because like I say, I'm just trying to make this as simple as possible for you if you are a beginner. And these photos are taken using the HDR JPEG setting. So you can see here, it's done a pretty good job, to be honest, that HDR setting so you can see everything outside, everything inside is nicely exposed. I mean, I might just take that into Photoshop perhaps and just take out a little bit of the orange, well, yellowy look to the room there. But otherwise, this camera has done a pretty good job just straight out of camera and then putting it into Kuula. So yeah, like I say, you can adjust those filters. There's also HDR tone mapping. And if you move that up, it kind of adjusts the sort of HDR look, that kind of softens it a bit, but I tend not to use that, so I just leave that at 0. Again, you can adjust the sharpness here, but again, I don't really feel I need to do that because this camera does take a pretty sharp image with 72 megapixels. Down below, we've got zoom settings. So
when you start, it's just the standard sort of look, but you can maybe have it starting a bit more zoomed out or zoomed in if you like. Tend to just leave that at 0 again. Down below here, we've got pitch limit, and this is quite a handy one to use as well, because this is kind of how far you can look up and down. And initially it's set at 90 degrees. So that means you can go all the way up and all the way down. But there's one thing to point out with this, because when you take the 360 shots, you're obviously going to be left with those tiny little tripod legs at the bottom, like down here. So there you go, there they are. You can edit them out beforehand, but there's a couple of things I'll show you now that you can do with this. One of them is that you adjust the pitch limit. So if you take that up to, where are we going to go, about 61, there we go, and that way I can't now roll down to see them. So now that has kind of got rid of them. Another thing you can do, if we take that pitch limit back to 90, so there's our little feet from our monopod, is you can put an image over that. So you can actually, maybe if you've got a logo, you could put that over the top of it, or maybe if you want to put your estate agent's logo that you're shooting for, you can put that on. And so you can do that by importing it. But here, if you click on image on the sidebar here, and then you've got some built-in assets. So probably going to use this one that's kind of a bit of a faded out circle. But if you click on your assets, this is where you can upload the file. So if you've got that logo, upload it. So it says here, upload file, and then you can bring that in, but not done that here. So we're just going to use that there. So we're going to bring that over here. Hang on a sec. We're going to click it on the floor. There we go. And that's put it over our little feet. And obviously you can adjust the width, similar to how we do with the hotspots. Make it a bit smaller. And again, you can change the image if you want. Sorry, we're going to set the tint rather, so you can change that to blend in with the floor here. So if I select that sort of grey colour there, click select, and then it kind of blends in a bit more with the floor. So that's just a couple of ways you can get rid of your feet of the monopod on the floor. And if you do use that little trick to get the monopod on the floor, well, to get rid of the monopod on the floor, you can also click this little thing here, master. So then it shows on all posts on the tour. That way you don't have to go back and do this over and over again. So quite a handy little thing to just speed things up a little. Another feature you might want to use hotspots for is to link things. So if you click on hotspot here, and you can change the image. So if you have a little information sign, so then we get that in the room. So maybe this is a commercial space like a restaurant or something. You could link to the website of that restaurant to the menu. So down here, if we scroll down, we have action. So at the moment, say no action, but you can open a URL, so open to a website. So here, click on open URL, and then in here, link URL, you'd simply type the website address that you want to link to. So maybe in a property, it could be something to do with the estate agent, perhaps you want to link to. But you can also link cards as well. So the action here, instead of open URL, you've got the option to open card. And that could be some information about the property, perhaps. Say maybe in this room it's got quite nice floors, so maybe you just want to say something about the floors, or maybe there's some cool connections in it that you might want to point out. So there's some cool features that you can add in with the hotspots too. Another thing useful to know about hotspots is that you can add labels to them. So if we just choose a hotspot here, I'm going to put it over the garden. Then if you scroll down here, we've got a section called label. So I'm just simply going to type in garden here. And you can change the position of that. So if you want it to appear above the hotspot or below the hotspot, and we can choose what font we want here. So you can play around with that here, select, and also you can change the font color just here. So once you're happy with your virtual tour and you're ready to send it to client, well, you're just going to have to get that link ready to send. So you're going to go up here to close on the sidebar, and then come down here to share. And then click on this green button, get link or embed code. And then down here, you're going to have a series of different links you can send. There's the simple link you can just share with the client to post. And there's also embedded links, which can be put on websites. And then you've got the export editor here, which is going to give you a load of options to choose from. The main one you're probably going to want to look at is down here, which is branding. And here at the moment, you can see it's got Kuula as the branding on there, but you're probably going to want to change that to your own branding or maybe your client's branding. So here you got that choice. So I'm just going to click on your logo. And as you see here now, it's changed it to my logo, and you can change the size of that. You've also got the option here to show contact card, and that's basically going to show the details of the property and whatever other details you want to put on there, so people can put the phone number if they want to get in touch with you. But that is pretty much all you need to know. So once you're ready and done that, you're ready to copy that link and share it with your client. So that is how you create a virtual tour using a 360 like this, the Insta360 X4, which as I mentioned is linked below, and also how to use the Kuula software to create the tour. But if you enjoyed that and maybe you want to think about using another software like Matterport, I've also done a video about how you can use this camera with Matterport, which is linked just here. But I hope you found that useful, and so if you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.